Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Hello Korean Studio. I'm Emma, and this is the show where English speakers go from like zero to actually reading, speaking, and understanding Korean. And as always, I've got June here with me.
안녕하세요. 저는 준이에요. 반가워요.
So, okay, if you watched part 1, you learned the 10 basic vowels, right? And all the consonants and how syllable blocks work. And that's huge. I mean, you can already read a lot of Korean. Now, I know the consonant names themselves, like kiok, nian, digut. That might have felt a little overwhelming, but don't worry about that. What really matters is the sound, not the name. And if you practiced along with that kanadara section at the end, well, that rhythm just makes it so much easier to remember. All right, so I want to show you something. June, could you read a few words for me?
네, 봐요. 왜요? 의사, 회사,
봐요, 왜요, 의사, 회사. Okay, so can you read those? If you're hesitating a bit, that's completely normal. These words, they have something that part 1 didn't cover, which is compound vowels. And that's exactly what we're getting into today. And we're also going to cover something that's really going to change the way you hear Korean, and that's pronunciation rules. Because, Korean words, they don't always sound the way they look. But once you understand why, it all starts to make a lot more sense. So let's get into it. Okay, so in part 1, we learned the 10 basic vowels, right? A, ya, o, ya, o, yo, u, u, I. Each one is just like a single clean sound. So compound vowels, they're basically combinations of those basic vowels. There are 11 of them in total. And here's a little pattern that'll help you out. Whenever E is involved, it changes the shape of your mouth. It kind of stretches sideways. And whenever O or U is involved, it makes a W sound. Once you see that, the whole system just clicks. So let's go through them.
첫 번째, 에,
에. So 에 is a plus e. You start with a, then you just let your mouth stretch sideways towards e. So instead of a, you get 에.
두 번째, 에,
Also, 에 is a plus e. It's the same idea. You start with a and then move towards e. 에. Now, technically, 에 and 에 are two different vowels with different spellings. But in modern Korean, people don't really distinguish between them in pronunciation. So just think of them as the same sound. Don't stress about the difference. 에.
세 번째, 예,
예. And 예 is ya plus e, so you start with ya, then let your mouth stretch sideways towards e. 예.
네 번째, 예,
Also, 예. So 예 is ya plus e. Same idea, start with ya and move towards e. Phonetically, these two vowels produce slightly different sounds, but in everyday Korean, people don't distinguish between them in pronunciation, so just treat them as the same sound. Yay. Okay, so now for the W group. These are all built from O or U, and when those combine with another vowel, they make like a W sound.
다섯 번째, 와,
Wa. So wa is O plus a. Just say them quickly back to back and you get wa. It's like the wa in waffle. Wa.
여섯 번째, 왜,
왜. So 왜 is O plus a. Again, say them quickly back to back and you get 왜. Just like the word way. 왜.
일곱 번째, 왜,
Also, it's pronounced 왜. You can consider 왜 and 왜 the same sound. Most people don't distinguish between them. 왜.
여덟 번째, 워,
워. 워 is u plus 어. Say them fast and you get 워. Like the 워 in wonder. 워.
아홉 번째, 왜,
also 왜. So, 왜 is u plus e. Say them fast. And get this. 왜, and 왜 are actually 3 different vowels. But in everyday Korean, people don't distinguish between them in pronunciation. So just treat them as one sound. 왜.
10번째 위,
We. This one is u plus e. Say them fast. We. So yeah, that's the W group. 와, 왜, wa, 왜, we. All of them are built from o or u combining with another vowel. And then there's just one left.
11번째 의,
This one's kind of special. 의 is plus e. You start with and then slide into e. The sound also kind of shifts depending on where it appears in a sentence, but we'll get to that later. For now, just know that on its own, 의 sounds like 의. So, yeah, that's 11 compound vowels. The key thing is E stretches your mouth sideways, O and U make W sounds, and 의 is like its own thing. That's the whole system.
헷갈릴 수 있는데 자주 들으면 자연스럽게 익혀져요.
Yeah, June says it might feel confusing at first, but you'll totally pick it up naturally just through listening. For now, just know that 의 can sound different depending on where it appears. Let's hear all 11 one more time. 에, 예, 와, 왜, 워, 왜, 위, 의. Okay, so now we get to something that's really important and actually really interesting. Korean words, they don't always sound exactly the way they look. Like when you read a word, the written form and the spoken form can be different. June, how would you describe why that happens?
발음하기 편한 방향으로 소리가 바뀌는 거예요. 자연스럽게 입에서 나오는 소리로 변하는 거죠.
Exactly. The sound changes in the direction that's like easiest to pronounce. It's not random at all. It's just your mouth taking the path of least resistance. And once you understand that principle, the rules start to feel logical instead of, arbitrary. So let's go through them one by one. So the first rule is called linking. When a syllable ends in a final consonant and the next syllable starts with iyung, which is silent at the start, remember? The final consonant sound kind of moves forward and attaches to the next syllable. June, can you show us?
먹어요? 쓰면 먹어요인데 소리는 먹어요예요.
Right. So 먹어요 is written as mug, yo, 3 separate syllables. But when you say it, the final consonant giak, a g sound in mug, just slides forward and attaches to so it ends up sounding like 먹어요.
한국어? 쓰면 한국어인데 소리는 한국어예요.
Right, 한국어. So it's written as 한국어, but when it's spoken, it becomes 한국어. The final consonant in guk, that giak, a g sound, it just moves over to
읽어요. 달기.
Okay, so with 읽어요 and 달기, they both have the same 2 final consonants stacked together. 리엘, a l sound, and 기억, a g sound. When that happens, one stays and one moves forward. So the 리엘 stays and the 기억 moves over to the next syllable. So 읽어요 becomes 읽어요 and 닭이 becomes 달기. So yeah, whenever a final consonant is followed by a vowel, it just moves over and becomes the first consonant of the next syllable. It's simply just easier to say. Like, try putting a hard stop after each syllable and you'll feel how unnatural it sounds. All right, the second rule is called representative sounds. So in Korean, final consonants can only be pronounced as one of 7 sounds. Giok, a g or k sound, nian, a n sound, digit, a d sound, lir, a l sound, mium, a m sound, biub, a b or p sound, and iung, a ng sound. So no matter what consonant is actually written at the bottom of a syllable, it's going to be pronounced as one of these 7. So some consonants, they just simplify when they're in that final consonant position.
예를 들면 꽃은 받침이 치읓인데 소리는 디귿처럼 나요. 꽃,
꽃, the word for flower, it's written with 치읓 as the final consonant. But in the final consonant position, 치읓, a ch sound, simplifies to 디귿, a d sound. So 꽃 sounds like 꽃.
부엌, 부엌, 낫.
Again, the mouth just naturally settles into one of those 7 sounds. It's the easiest landing point. Okay, third rule is tensing. This is where plain consonants become tense consonants. So when certain final consonants are followed by plain consonants, like giak, a g sound, digit, a d sound, biup, a b sound, shiot, a s sound, or jiet, a j sound. Those consonants become their tense versions. Sanggiok, a k sound, sangdigut, a d sound, sangbiup, a b sound, sangshiut, a s sound, and sangjiut, a j sound.
학교, 쓰면 학교인데 소리는 학교예요.
학교, school. It's written as 학교, but that 기역, final consonant, followed by another 기역, the second 기역 tenses into 상기역, a g sound. So it sounds like 학교.
식당, 국밥, 국밥.
The tension just carries over. And again, it's actually easier to say it that way. The mouth is already tense from the final consonant, so the next sound just kind of comes out tense too. All right, fourth rule, aspiration. So when hiet, a h sound, meets certain consonants, it creates an aspirated sound. So 기역 plus hiet becomes kiuk, a k sound. digit plus hiet becomes tiet, a t sound. Biip plus hiet becomes piip, a p sound. And jiet plus hiet becomes chiet, a ch sound.
좋다, 쓰면 좋다인데 소리는 좋다예요. 히읗 받침이 디귿을 티읕으로 만드는 거예요.
좋다 means good. The final consonant hiet, the h sound, aspirates 디귿, the d sound, in 타. So it becomes 좋다.
많다, 싫다.
Yeah, the h just adds a little puff of air to the next consonant. It's way easier to say than stopping fully between them. Okay, rule number 5 is nasalization, when certain final consonants are followed by mium, the m sound, or nian, the n sound, which are nasal sounds, the final consonant itself becomes nasal. So the kiak, the g sound, final consonant, becomes iung, the sound. The digit, the d sound, final consonant, becomes nian, the n sound, and biip, the b sound, final consonant, becomes mium, the sound.
국물, 쓰면 국물인데 소리는 국물이에요. 기역 받침이 미음 앞에서 이응으로 바뀌는 거예요.
국물, which means broth. It's written as 국물, but that g final consonant before a m becomes ng, so it sounds like 국물.
입문, 닫는.
The nasal sound just kind of pulls the final consonant into its nasal equivalent. I mean, your nose and mouth are already working together, so the sound naturally shifts. Moving on to the sixth rule, liquid assimilation. When n and l appear next to each other, the n becomes l. So basically, both sounds become l.
신라. 쓰면 신라인데 소리는 신라예요.
Shilla, the ancient Korean kingdom Shilla. It's written as Shinla, but because n is next to l, both become l, the L sound. So it sounds like Shilla.
날로, 달라라.
It's just two sounds becoming one consistent sound. It's easier, smoother, just more natural. And the last rule is palatalization. When D or T final consonants are followed by an E, so that E sound, they change. The D becomes a J and the T becomes a Ch.
굳이. 쓰면 굳인데 소리는 굳이예요.
굳이, meaning something like if you insist or necessarily. It's written as gut, E, but because that final consonant, digut, a D sound, comes before E, it shifts to jiet, a J sound. So 굳이 sounds like 굳이.
같이. 맞이.
같이, which means together, is written as 같이. But because that final consonant tiet, a T sound, comes before E, it shifts to tiet, a ch sound. So 같이 sounds like 같이.
이게 다 발음하기 편해서 생긴 규칙들이에요. 외우려고 하면 힘든데 많이 들으면 자연스럽게 돼요.
Exactly what June says. All of these rules exist just because they make pronunciation easier. Don't try to memorize them all at once. The more Korean you listen to, the more natural they'll start to feel. Okay, so let's put everything together with something fun. KakaoTalk, or just KakaoTalk as Koreans call it, is Korea's most popular messaging app. I mean, almost everyone in Korea uses it. And Korean texting has its own culture, its own shorthand, its own feel. June, can you explain some of the most common expressions?
크크크는 웃음을 나타내는 거예요. 키읔 발음이 웃을 때 나는 소리랑 비슷해서요. 영어로 치면 LOL 같은 거예요.
Yeah, this is laughter. K is like the sound of a laugh, kind of like a light hehehe. And the more k's you use, the harder the laugh. So if you see k, it means they're really losing it.
하하 도 웃음인데 좀 더 가볍고 부드러운 느낌이에요.
Haha is also laughter, but it's softer, more like a gentle hehe. So k is louder and more energetic.
유유는 울고 있는 표정이에요. 눈물이 흘러내리는 모양이죠.
You? This one is crying. The shape of you kind of looks like tears falling down, and the more yous you use, the more dramatic it is. So you means someone is very sad, or, being very dramatic about something small. Okay, so now let's try reading some actual KakaoTalk style messages. June, can you show us a few?
뭐 해요?
This means, what are you doing? The word 뭐 uses the compound vowel 워, so it's 뭐 해요, 3-syllable blocks.
왜요?
This just means why. It's only 2-syllable blocks. 왜 uses that compound vowel, 왜. And remember yo from episode 1? Adding yo makes it polite. It's short, simple, and super common.
어디에 있어요?
That means, where are you? Notice in 있어요, the syllable it has a final consonant, 쌍시옷, a s sound, and then 어요 follows it. So because of linking, that 쌍시옷 slides forward. So 있어요 sounds like 있어요.
맞아요. 있어요.
Yup, this is linking in real life. The written form and the spoken form are different, but now you know why.
진짜요?
This one means really? 진짜요? The first syllable, 진, has a final consonant ni은, an N sound, and 자 uses 쌍지읒, a Z sound, which is a tense consonant.
좋아요?
This means I like it or great. It's one of the most common expressions in Korean. The first syllable has a h final consonant, and then io follows. So by aspiration, the h adds a puff of air and then just disappears, leaving you with 좋아요.
카톡에서 이런 표현들 정말 많이 써요. 알아두면 진짜 도움돼요.
June's right. He says these expressions come up all the time in KakaoTalk, so knowing them will really help. Okay, let's practice. First up, compound vowels. Let's go through all of them. Repeat after me. 에, 예, 와, 왜, 워, 왜, 위, 의. Good. Now let's try some words with compound vowels.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. Like the very first word you learned back in episode 1. And now look. 새 uses the compound vowel 에. You're reading it differently now, aren't you?
봐요. 뭐요? 왜요? 웨이터, 의사, 회사.
봐요. Looking. 왜요? Why? 뭐요? What? Waiter. Waiter. 의사. Doctor. And 회사. Company. Okay, now let's try a pronunciation rule in action. 먹어요.
먹어요?
학교.
학교,
국물.
국물,
좋아요.
좋아요?
택시.
같이.
신라.
신라,
You're starting to hear the difference, right? Between written Korean and spoken Korean. That gap, that's what these rules explain. And now you know why.
정말 잘하셨어요. 많이 늘었어요.
June says, you've really improved. Well done. And that's it for Hangul Part 2. We covered the 11 compound vowels, so now you can read words like payo, weyo, and usa. We covered 7 pronunciation rules, and now when spoken Korean sounds different from written Korean, you'll know why. It's not random. It's just your mouth taking the easy road. And we read real KakaoTalk messages. You know, kukuku, yuyu, 뭐해요, 좋아요. These are things real Koreans send each other every single day.
이제 한글 기초는 다 배우셨어요. 진짜 시작은 지금부터예요.
Yeah, June says you've now covered all the Hangul basics. The real journey, it starts from here. Just keep reading. Every sign, every menu, every song lyric. Just slow down and sound it out. That's how it sticks.
조금씩 하다 보면 늘어요.
Little by little, you'll improve. Keep going. And hey, if you're enjoying the content, please subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps more people find Hello Korean Studio.
안녕히 계세요.
또 봐요. Thanks for listening.